and build brands that reflect who they are. So Curtis, welcome.
Man, I'm so glad to be on the show today, Brigham.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the willingness to come out here and share some of your experience and your knowledge. Now, we've got 5 main topics we want to talk about today. But first, let me have you tell a little bit about your background. What is it that you're so passionate about as far as branding? And then we'll get into some of those specifics.
So I'll tell you how I got into branding. You probably know just from podcast or from the Toastmasters groups, but I've owned a cosmetic medical laser clinic, built a pharmaceutical company, manufacturing bioidentical injectable research peptides. I owned a Christian clothing company, had all kinds of different businesses over the year. Health and fitness company that supplied nutritional supplements, all kinds of major gyms. Built a bunch of businesses that were extremely successful. My telecommunications company had over 250,000 customers a month hitting the website at the peak. But what I noticed was the reason I'm helping people with personal branding now is over the years, every time I launched a new company, I'd sell a company, close it, whatever happened, I'd go into a new industry. And this happens with entrepreneurs also, where you spend years building out a brand, building out a business that people know, like, and trust. And then if you decide to change industries, you're starting from scratch, like the new guy, from the ground up with zero recognition. Mm-hmm. But I noticed guys like, you may not agree with his, I don't align with the guy's lifestyle, but Richard Branson, I looked at, mm-hmm. He was one of my main competitors with Virgin Media, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Records, Virgin Galactic, Virgin Mobile was our main competitor with the cell phone company. And he could start absolutely anything. And because people knew him, because millions of people worldwide knew who Richard Branson was, he'd start a new company and overnight have millions of dollars of revenue, just have a successful business because he had built that personal brand. And that's something where, on my 4th book, when I published that, I had a $10,000 a month Amazon ad budget that we were spending to promote that book because people didn't know who I was. So over the years, starting like 2017, 2018, I started working on personal branding just for myself. And as that's been built, I've been consulting. I've consulted with the United States Federal Trade Commission, some big businesses on branding, mm-hmm. But realize that your personal brand is the thing that you really need to be focusing on outside of your business, because that's what makes people recognize or makes people trust the business.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome. You've got a wealth of experience and you're willing to share a little bit of those nuggets of wisdoms, those patterns of progress. I love hearing that you don't just have experience in one industry as well. It's really unique to have multiple industries where you've been able to be successful in it. I would love to hear your take on how to really be bold in your brand and why that's so helpful. I've actually got this first topic, I think is one that really expands the way that you are seen, and it's being brave, going out on a limb, being willing to share. So let's first talk about that bravery. Tell us about how this attaches to you being very brand and creating awareness for your brand.
So you see me now as the president of the Toastmasters group you're in, these type of things where I'm speaking all of the country, different events on leadership and personal branding. And I spoke at a real estate conference over in Denver here recently. Got paid to speak more for 30 minutes than I used to make in a month. But that's because I got out there and started doing it. Mm-hmm. So people see me now and think that, oh, this guy must come easy for you. You've got this confidence. You got the ability to connect with people, the self-worth or whatever. But I grew up in an abusive home. My mom was great. My mom is great. My biological dad was not a good dude at all. At one point, had been beating on me for hours, put a loaded .357 pistol on the table, on the bathroom counter, after telling me you're a waste of skin, you're a waste of oxygen, put the gun down and told me to do the world a favor. So I spent a lot of years, even after launching successful companies, where, doing very well. I've had doctors working for me at the pharmaceutical company. I had doing well, for a young guy, but never felt like I was doing good enough. Hit revenue targets that were, 10 times what people are making in a year, and doing that monthly in the business. But still feeling like, well, yeah, it's just, not realizing that I had any value there. But I would say for people that are, everybody has dealt with some kind of stuff, whether that was relationship, childhood trauma, ex-slave, you be abused, whatever the thing was. We've all had stuff. Maybe it's a teacher talking down to you. We've all had stuff that makes us doubt ourselves. And everybody in the world, unless you're some kind of a egomaniac, wonders, am I good enough? Do I really deserve to be out there in front of people? Should I be speaking on stage? Should I be, I talked to a podcast host yesterday who would not turn his camera on. He said he's uncomfortable being on camera, so he's just going to post it. He was going to post it to YouTube, but said he's just going to use his picture as the background because he was afraid of being on camera. And he said, he's going to work on it, try to get more confident. So work on it now. You could start. The best time to start is yesterday, but if you can't start yesterday, start today. Start getting out there. Just start doing it. So the bravery, I don't think anybody is just naturally brave. You do scary stuff, and when you achieve goals, every time you achieve some kind of accomplishment, you gain a little bit more confidence, you get a little more self-worth, and you also gain credibility. So like me with the personal branding, when I started out, I was going, I'm pitching stuff going, I don't know what I should charge. I don't even know if I can help you. But as I got more and more results, and now I'm speaking at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, consulting with the Federal Trade Commission, these kind of things, you start making those little wins. And I still have some self-doubt, some, why is anybody listening to me kind of feelings. But the more you achieve and the more people that you help, the easier it is to get over that and go, what kind of a stupid thought is that? Of course I've got self-worth. Of course I got value.
I love that. Now, if you could kind of pinpoint what your first experience was where you felt like you had to completely go out on a limb and be vulnerable in a way that allowed you to be successful, what would that look like in your personal brand?
I couldn't honestly tell you about the first time. I'm trying to think about.
Or how about an instance? It doesn't have to be the first time. An instance where you felt like you had to go out on a limb, you had to be brave, you had to work through the fear and step out on that tight wire. I mean, I've got a great visual here. Check this out. I think this is really interesting because when you look at, I guess the easiest way to think about it is when you're looking at how life is perceived. We have opportunities to shine, and we have opportunities to fail. And a lot of times those are the same opportunity. It's just how you go about doing it. Exactly. Let me see if I can share my screen here really quick. It's not letting me. Okay, right there. When I hit share screen, usually I can see it immediately. Window. This is a newer program for me, so we're going to find out if I can share my screen or not. Share screen. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you see this on my screen?
Yeah.
Is that popping up? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yep. So walk us through a time where you felt like you were on a tightrope, where you had to be brave, and that helped you accelerate your brand.
So my last 2 or 3 interviews this morning, all 5 of them yesterday, every single time I'm doing something, I still got that self-doubt. But a good example that I would think I'd say is when I very first started. So I owned 3 retail stores at the time, three cell phone stores. Had one in Orchard Mesa, one in Clifton, one in Hotchkiss. People saw me as a successful guy. We got 250,000 customers a month in the website. Yeah. But as we're building that business, in order to keep paying, I had some great employees, a couple dozen employees. In order to keep paying them what they were worth, keep giving them raises, that meant I could not even afford an apartment for myself. I was sleeping in the back of my Clifton store. So there's no bedroom in there. It's just you got a futon mattress, didn't have a full-size refrigerator, had a kitchen. It was called a hotel fridge. Yeah. I was cooking my meals in either a toaster oven or I'd cook soup in a coffee pot. Take you 45 minutes to heat up your soup. But people would see me as a successful guy. And so I'd go out, I'd jump up every morning, had my suit and my little bit of clothes in the coat closet at the place that people are showing up. I'm wearing a suit and tie and going to the gym to shower every morning because there's no shower in the back of the cell phone store. but I was getting on. And so when I launched my when I launched my own podcast, now I'm just a guest on other people's show.
Yeah.
But I originally had I was just doing single person podcast talking to the camera, and I'd hold a microphone. I had bought a thrift store, didn't have anything to plug it into. So I was recording it on my cell phone, just looking at the phone, doing a video on the phone there,
Mhm.
holding the microphone, standing in front of this cloth curtain thing I'd hang up in front of our cell phone store logo. And I'm standing inside there before the store opened, trying to look professional. So I'm holding the microphone going, hi, this is M. Curtis McCoy. I am here to talk to you today about leadership or whatever. And I was a
Yes.
leader, I'm leading a couple dozen employees, but felt like an idiot. And so getting out doing that thing, I'm extremely uncomfortable. I had the lack of self-worth from the stuff growing up.
Yeah.
Survived a malignant glioblastoma brain tumor. So
Oh,
you'll
goodness.
see I stumble over words and stuff. Communication. I'm the president of Toastmasters, and I still have a hard time speaking correctly. But just getting out there and doing it, and looking at that where I'm talking to a fake microphone on my cell phone, it's going, I have got to make this work. I feel like I can't talk to a bunch of employees if I'm scared to even talk to the grocery store or the checker at the grocery store. So just getting out there and doing it and forcing yourself to do tough stuff and doing it every single day. Like I said, every time you make an achievement, every time you accomplish a small goal, that gives you a little bit more credibility and a little bit more of a sense of self-worth.
I absolutely love that. So when you think about this next topic, I feel like when we're talking about branding, this next one, I feel like it really comes down to understanding yourself before you try and understand other people. But let's go here. I'm going to hit this present screen. I'm going to figure this out one of these days. One moment. There we go. So being relentless. Now there's an expression in Mandarin. Can you see this really quick? Can you see that?
Yep.
Relentless, is it showing up on your screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. So being relentless, it comes down to this idea in Mandarin, 滴水穿石, the dripping water penetrates the stone. And I think this is where persistence and being intentional with your brand is so important. So tell me a little bit about your experience and being not just relentless in generalities, but to be relentless and precision as far as the way that you are going about finding how to serve your people. Let's go there.
Man, that's an incredible way to look at it. I would say the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make, and a lot of new entrepreneurs get focused on too many different things, distracted by doing too many different things. And you'll hear podcast hosts where I get on, okay, who is your target audience? Well, it's anybody who wants to be successful. So you serve nobody.
You serve nobody.
If you try to serve everybody, there is no possible way you can be relevant to anybody specifically. So I would say find your target audience. Who do you serve? Whose problem can you solve? This is the same thing with business. If you've got a business that, what do you sell? Everything. You need to know exactly what you sell, what problem you serve, niche that your target avatar, your target client down to know their age, what they look like, their ethnic background, their religion, what kind of music they listen to. If you can niche that down to where you're talking to exactly one target person, even if they don't exist, but hey, I serve John. This guy is a whatever, here's his age, here's his income level, here's his financial status. He votes Republican or Democrat or independent but if you're talking exactly to that one person that you serve, figuring out how to solve that person's problems exactly, everybody in the audience can pick up something where you're talking. They know that you've got a message where you are absolutely confident that you can solve that problem. They're going to be able to pick up something from that. So then you can reach a larger audience. But yeah, just figure out who you serve and figure out how to solve the problem. And that's also a great way to focus on monetizing business, where instead of trying to sell something to everybody, you can sell a whole lot higher ticket items if you serve a specific person, a specific business, specific type of industry, and you solve a problem for them. You solve that problem better than anybody else, and you charge a reasonable amount. Now that reasonable amount could be a ridiculous amount as long as you're solving the problem and you're giving them more value than they're paying for.
Oh, I think that is a beautiful way to look at it. Now, when you're getting into really being aligned with your brand, I know there's some people that get completely out of alignment with who they are on stage, who they are off stage. And for me, I have this infinity model that I learned from my friend Greg Kimball, that your business bleeds into your personal life bleeds into your community bleeds into your vitality, and they're all interconnected. And when you find that alignment in your brand, your messaging, all of those different things start to sound like you can hear it in the copy and the way that you appear. So let's talk about alignment and how does that appear in your business and in branding. Why is that so important to be aligned?
I'm gonna change this question a little bit, if
Okay.
that's cool with you.
That's fine.
So people try to, being in alignment. So when I am, for example, if I'm working with a local electrician on how to build his brand, this guy needs to be I would recommend having multiple profiles and align with individual audiences, align with that audience based on your target user. But
Mm,
so for example, if you're on I've got 3 iPhones here with me, that because you can only have 7 profiles per phone on Instagram. So I've got
mhm,
multiple profiles for clients and myself. Um, but if I'm talking about the Newswire magazine profile, that's targeting authors, entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, podcast hosts, and leaders who are already crushing it in life and business. And I
mhm,
feature Newswire magazine covers, I feature interviews, I feature the stuff that's relevant to that audience. But if you're let's say you're a lifestyle brand, so you're somebody who is, some of these influencers who have built their life where their brand is, they go around the world flying private jets, driving crazy cars on awesome vacations. Their
mhm.
lifestyle, their brand, it needs to be focused around, okay, here's what I sell, here's the service, but also here's the crazy, incredible lifestyle that I've built by doing what I'm teaching you how to do. The personal branding stuff. I have Newswire magazine is one of them. I've got another company that does videography for events. You may be a speaker at one of the next events. We're talking doing the introduction this morning,
Yeah.
but so on the videography page, that's all professional videography, branded video. I mean, where it's, the multi-camera stuff like that. But I don't share stuff on that profile about my political views or family or anything crazy. It's here's the professional videography service. So even if you're doing multiple things,
Mhm.
you can have multiple brands as long as they're not competing with each other. If you get up and you're saying, "Oh, I vote for this person. This is my life. I'm a Christian. I believe in God." And then you've got another profile where you're out drinking and partying and doing cocaine. Probably not going to
Yeah.
work. But
Yeah,
but
there's gonna
as
be
long as you're
misalignment in that for sure
yeah
if
yeah
you're not
alignment and sharing
true.
that the specific message, how you want to brand yourself with that specific audience.
Mm. I
Everybody's
think
got
it's
tons of
huge.
different aspects. You don't need to share everything with everybody.
I think it's really great to say this is who I want to be for this audience because you are being very selective with what you share. It doesn't mean you're not sharing your whole story. You say, let me share the whole story of this part of my life. Because you can be that person and let them see this is how we're going to show up on this Livewire or Newswire magazine and make sure that it is branded specifically for the content that they're expecting. And I think part of the reason why this would be helpful is when you're in alignment, you are able to make sure that your message is being clearly understood. Because I don't know about you, but when you are following someone and they have something that is off the wall different than what you're used to, you feel almost like you were hoodwinked or they did like a bait and
Yeah.
switch type of thing. And nobody wants to feel duped. They want to make sure that there is a comfortability with interacting with you and you have to know, like, and trust them before you'll do business with them. So I think that really comes into the branding as well. Any other ideas on alignment that you wanted to share?
I would say it's important to be yourself and don't. So you're talking about the feeling like you're hoodwinked. I
Mhm.
had a guy that had paid. This is a New York Times best-selling author. He's a guy I had read his books for years. Um, Incredible author on leadership and stuff. He got on and he had started, I guess, before our interview, within the last few months or whatever. It's been a year or two ago that we did the interview. But this guy's an expert on. I mean, he's a speaker on leadership. He's published, sold 2 million copies of one book, and he had started experimenting with different drugs. He said he was microdosing LSD, psilocybin, some kind of a stuff that you
The
smoked, and
Sure.
then so he told me on our interview, he had said, so he kind of got off the subject. And I was having a hard time when I'm trying to talk to you, share you as a leadership expert with my audience. And so he started talking about how he was microdosing, and he had, as he was eating mushrooms the one morning, said he's eating these hallucinogenic mushrooms and sitting under his kitchen table. And he realized that he was connected with the universe. And pretty soon he realized he was the universe. He said, and finally I realized that I am God. I said, hold on, stop. What was that? And he goes, I realized that I am God. God is inside of me. I am God. And, I can build anything. My mind controls anything. I'm like, listen, hey, we're done here. I said, not only, I could share this. You've already paid me. Not that I want to give, not that I want to give up the money, but I go, if I share this, it's either going to make you look like an idiot to my audience, the people that are following or reading this article or watching you on TV, watching you in order to learn about leadership. Now they're going, okay, a lot of my audience are, most of them believe in God, believe in Jesus, believe, we've got a religious background.
Yeah.
And we're looking for leadership experts. We're looking for people that are crushing it in life and business. So either it's going to make you look like an idiot to people that, myself included, don't think you're God, don't think that you should be doing drugs and trying to teach people about leadership as you're doing drugs, or you are going to resonate with the audience and somebody watching it. And that, again, that's not my target. So if you're resonating with that type of person, and now more people are finding my platform because of what you just shared, that's messing up. Now we're diluting my audience, and I'm gonna have a mixed up group of people where some are drug addicts that think they're God and some aren't. So
Yeah.
I said, we're going to go ahead and cancel this right here. We'll still be friends. We'll still, stay in contact if you want. Ask me about God. Ask me about some questions later. But this is not going to work. So I went ahead and refunded his entire payment there. So this is, it's not going to work here. So may get off track there a little bit, but like
I
I
don't
said,
think that's off track. That's really being true to who you want to serve. Because if something comes up and you're like, this is misaligned with who I am, the values that I have, it's better to not produce it than to put it out there and create that mixed messaging.
yeah.
Because now you'll dilute your relationship with all those different people. So I think that, no, Curtis, that's absolutely on point. This next one, we already brought up once because it's so important and it's so key to branding, that being in the niche. I think this is so important. It's almost like finding a needle in a haystack, but you think about this, when you are really finding what your niche is, it's like having a magnet, and that's how you find the needle, not searching for it, but you draw it to you. And having that niche so clear that people can see you and hear you, and they know that it's exactly the thing that they needed to hear and what they need to see and how they need to feel. That clarity is what's so impressive when you have a great brand. So you brought up Richard Branson, his Virgin brand. Like, you can see it on any of his brands that color is very similar, the font's similar, and there is an imagery of lifestyle and a feeling behind all their copy and all the different things that they do. You've got it in so many different really well put together brands. Like, you see Coca-Cola, they're not selling soda, they're selling the American dream. They're selling the idea of being able to connect with your roots, and the way even like Santa Claus drinking Coca-Cola. It's not the actual soda that they're selling, it's the benefits behind it. So when
Red
you
Bull
are
selling lifestyle, selling this is what gives you wings. It makes you excited. It makes you be able to jump a mountain bike off a skyscraper or whatever.
Oh, Red Bull's branding is so good. I love it for that reason too. They make it so as they're creating alignment with certain ideas, you create an association. So like extreme sports is now connected with Red Bull because they've gone into X Games and they do all these crazy stunts. So when you are defining your niche and then you are expanding your niche, how do you make sure that you don't get derailed and you are serving the right people?
Yeah, that's a tough one also. Now I get derailed. It is very easy for me to get distracted and find the next new, chasing a rabbit kind of a thing.
Mhm.
But again, knowing, so if you align something along, if you look at an opportunity and align that with your core values, your core beliefs, and who you serve, is that something else? For example, if I interview you on Amazon Fire TV,
Yeah.
it's a great, great connection there. The show is called Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. Now, hey, this is also a good thing. I can put you on the cover of New Wire magazine. I can put you on a 96-foot billboard in Times Square, New York, with that magazine cover. This again, the entire magazine is focused on authors, entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, podcast hosts, leaders, people who are crushing it in life and business. You're doing that. You're out. You've got all kinds of different businesses that you're running yourself. The rental, what is it called, temporary stay business,
Short-term rental for sure.
short-term rentals. Yeah. So when I look at a new opportunity now, the only thing, it's not a distraction, but if somebody said, okay, you've got, you can buy some skyscraper. Okay, cool. Does that align with what I'm doing, who I'm trying to serve right now? If it does, it may be a good opportunity, but
Yeah.
it's something where you don't start stacking businesses or taking on other opportunities until you've already maximized, put everything into building the business that's already serving your audience, then start expanding from there and continue to serve the same client better.
I love that. And I think part of the value of what you just said is identifying why you're doing what you're doing. When you are focused on that personal brand and being able to communicate really clearly with your people, you're looking for those entrepreneurs, those authors, those people that are crushing it in life and business. And as you hear them, it's almost like, have you seen those tuning forks that when you hit one tuning fork and there's like a ping pong ball, if it's the same frequency, they both start to resonate. When you are finding the right audience and you've niched down to the point that your audience is resonating with you, you know that it is clear in your messaging. And that ping pong ball, metaphorically starts pinging and starts moving. So how do you know when to fire clients? Because I have had some times where I'm like, wow, this is not who I intended to serve. I've noticed this in my short-term rentals. If I have my price too low, suddenly I start to find people that
Party
are not
house.
my ideal clients, and they start being a headache. So tell me a little bit what you've done to be able to steer clear of bad clients, or if you've gotten those clients that kind of go off on the mushrooms, how you realign, reassess, and reengage.
So that guy, the mushroom guy, for example, and I'm thinking that was 2 years ago, but at the time, the business had not exploded to a point where $2,000 at the time, for the little feature that he had selected, that was a big chunk of money for me. I was thinking about this, and the more he talked, I'm like, listen, this is not going to work. But I was not wanting to refund that guy's money because I was still had massive expense in building a business, trying to figure out how to make everything work. But the personal branding, when you have built a brand where you've got customers knocking down your door, and me being on 4 to 6 podcast interviews a day, TV, radio, whatever, when you've got enough opportunity, the first thing is, like we talked about already, staying true to who you are, who you serve, and only serving those people. But when you've got enough opportunities coming in, it would be a whole lot easier today to tell that guy, hey, listen, we're done here. We're not going to continue discussing this. Whereas if that is your only client all month,
You're like,
it's going to be really hard not to. It takes a better person to stay aligned with your values when that is your only opportunity that you've had for all week or all month, but
Mhm.
get more clients, get out there, get your name where. Same thing with your business. If you're, if you're short-term rental business, if you've got one person a month booking, you got to drop your prices and get it. You can make it to where you can take whoever is willing to stay with you. But as your name starts getting out there, your business is growing. If you've got a line, you're booked out 3 months in advance. You can raise prices. As you raise prices, you also cut out the clients that are least qualified to work with you.
Yeah.
So by raising prices, a lot of times you can decrease stress and work with better people.
I think that's so key. So sometimes you have to go through the mud for a time, metaphorically, to be able to figure out where those little diamonds are, where those really great clients are. For me, I think being deliberate in every single thing that we do is key to branding as well. So when I talk about being deliberate, I would love you to share a little bit about why intention behind what your brand is, your why, and being intentional and deliberate with your messaging and all of those things are so essential to growing a brand long term. Because if I feel like if you're not deliberate in the beginning and while you're growing your brand, it starts to get watered down, and then you serve everybody, and now you don't serve anybody. So talk about being deliberate just for a moment. I'm going to share this one more time. Go ahead.
I feel like this is kind of stuff that we've covered as far as being deliberate with where you're going.
Yeah.
You mind clarifying a little bit, kind of what
Yeah.
you're looking for there?
So as far as being deliberate, I think really getting down to who I serve, you brought that up, why you serve them, and then articulating your problem really, really clearly. Here's who I serve, here's why I serve them, and here's who I don't serve. Here's also like a barrier of I'm deliberately not doing this, and kind of carving out that market share and being deliberate. That's who I'm going for after. Here's my market that that's that blue ocean market that I just know is going to continue to grow. That's who I'm going after rather than all these different things that kind of water down your message. That makes sense?
Yeah, so that all comes back, I feel like, to personal branding, where when you have built a solid brand yourself. Here's an example. I don't know if you've been on Instagram long enough to see, back when the blue check mark thing was popular and you could pay, 15, $18,000 to buy the blue check mark verification by getting the paid media, getting enough articles out there, and you'd have a hacker come in, some guy that would come in and actually apply the blue check mark to your account via the Instagram portal, the
Mhm.
Instagram media portal. This is back in the day before, now you can get on Facebook and Instagram and just subscribe. I think it's like $15 a month to pay for that check. But
Yeah.
I got to tell you also, I survived. I don't know if I may have mentioned this already. I survived a malignant glioblastoma brain tumor.
Yeah.
So I my short-term memory is not great.
Mhm.
Tell me again, what was
Yeah.
the actual question on that? I
So
apologize.
as far as being deliberate with your brand, how does that help you be bold in the marketplace? And how do you make sure that you're not getting spread too thin? Because I think that's really key.
okay. So yeah, so I talk to guys a lot of the times that are, I'm focusing on branding, but I also end up with people that not on the branding side. I get a lot of young entrepreneurs or guys that are just trying to get started as an entrepreneur, trying to figure out, how do I make money speaking? How do I make money? How do I start a business?
Mhm.
How do I get something to happen to start making money online or whatever their business is? Um, and everybody wants the answer of, okay, here's what you do to instantly start making money, or here's the piece of software you need to buy to monetize, to build your brand and get out there. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing that I tell people, I mean, I've spoken to Vince on this, on how to monetize your audience.
Mhm.
But again, with any type of a business, you need to figure out what problem you solve, who you solve it for, and then charge. You need to solve it better than anybody else, and then charge a reasonable amount. And that amount could be absolutely crazy if you're serving the right audience. But
Mm.
Let's say you are, I had a lady I'm working with that is just an incredible lady that her entire, she wants to help broken women. And
Mm.
her whole brand was on trying to help people that are, whether it was they're addicted to drugs or alcohol, or they went through uh, child abuse, abuse, being molested as a kid, being raped as an adult, or have an abusive spouse, whatever the thing is. And she was helping people, trying to help these ladies in um, what's it called, the recovery facilities,
Mm.
like the drug addiction facilities, and trying to figure out how to make money. And so I was telling her, that is an incredible, honorable thing that you're doing. That's a lifetime goal to be able to help people like that. If you're helping people be able to improve their self-worth, become better people, um, feel like you're worth something. Maybe you're stopping suicides,
Mm.
but you've got to be able to have somebody that knows that they need your service, somebody that wants your service,
Those
and
ones.
somebody that can afford to pay for your service. So if
Mm.
you are serving, say your entire goal, you're out to sell books to homeless guys about how to get off the street and how to not be homeless. Now, do they need your service? Absolutely. Do they want your service? They may or may not. A lot of them are there because they are choosing not to have the responsibility and stuff. Can
Mm.
they afford your service? If you're selling that book for $19, $20, a lot of them, that's going to be a really tough thing. They're choosing to eat over buying your book. So that audience, it's a great thing if you're trying to help people get off the street. But is that a business that you can build and monetize without government subsidies or something like that? If you got somebody that is a woman that's in an abusive situation and she knows she needs to leave, she's scared, knows she needs to leave, but does not have the mental capacity or the ability right now to get away from that abuser. If your business is selling her books, or maybe you're selling her a course, you're trying to sell her here's a how to leave your abuser and how to be safe type of a course, and that guy is controlling the finances. She needs it, she wants it. There is no way she can possibly spend $10 on your course without that guy controlling the bank accounts and knowing that she's trying to get away.
Mm.
So you need to be able to have that. You need your audience to know they need your product, they need to want your product or service, and they need to be able to afford it.
That's so true. Said another way, they have to be ready, able, and willing to purchase.
Yep.
And you really don't want to focus on broke people unless you want to do a charity. And that's a totally different thing. You're not running
Yeah.
a business as a charity. There
Yeah.
are ways to run that very efficiently and help people. But
Well, and this lady that we were talking about, so we have over the last couple of years, I've worked with her. She has started a very successful, very profitable business, uh, where it's going to be a very profitable thing for her. And she's working. She's figured out how to work that into where the other is almost like a nonprofit type of a deal. So
Mhm.
she's spending money from the business. That's going to be a tax deduction because it's marketing. It's still getting out there. So she's saving on taxes, still able to help these women that
Mm.
need the help, want the help. They're trying to get over the lack of self-worth, the emotional abuse, whatever it is. Um, Absolutely cannot afford it. So she's sponsoring them with her program, saying, okay, here's $1,000 program. I'm gifting you for free. Here's the cost that I'm actually charging. I have proof that this is what I'm charging online. So she's run those two businesses side by side. One is a service thing, just helping better the world. The other one she's making money off of. But
Mm.
yeah, and again, you can run multiple businesses once you get the profitable thing running and you're serving a specific clientele and you've built your personal brand where people want to do business with you and they're able to do business with you, then do a side project, do a passion project, and help people with that as well.
I love that. And as far as being deliberate, I feel like that perfectly encapsulated the point. You want to find those right people that are ready, able, and willing. They're able to not just say, "Hey, I want that product," but they're taking actions, actively searching out and say, "Oh, I've been doing this research here, and I've read these different books." When you are branding a specific business, if you could say avoid this one pitfall and your brand will be more clear. And this is the biggest red flag. What would be the biggest red flag you've noticed in your years or decades of experience in personal branding?
So I'll say this with when you're working with personal branding experts, there are, I mean, everybody's an expert. You get on Instagram. I probably get somebody weekly that sends a message that's going to help me explode my Instagram audience, grow my YouTube following, whatever it is. And back when the verification was something you're charging, people are charging you 15 grand plus $15,000 to $18,000 to get that blue check mark.
Mhm.
And you look at them, they're sending you a message, but they don't have the fruit on the tree. You look at the guy's profile, he's following 1,000 people. He's got 3 followers and doesn't have the check mark beside himself. He's posted 2 posts, or he's posted 5 posts on Instagram. Going, do you actually believe in what you're selling? So that's the biggest thing, is figuring out, is somebody doing what they're telling you that they can do for you? Do they, and even if they're not doing it for themselves, if you've got a guy, a personal branding guy that has, you're seeing his clients that are every single day, you're putting out good quality video. Phenomenal video. They're on every single platform. Their clients are crushing it. And you can see the clients are still working with them. Okay, that's somebody that I'm going to hire. If it's a guy that's not doing what they say they're going to do, they're either too lazy to work for me, or they don't believe in themselves enough. Their service is a scam because they don't believe in themselves enough to even use it themselves.
That's so true. And when you are dealing with practitioners that are living, breathing proof that it's real, you're coming from a point of experience rather than a point of hypothetical. And this is, I think, the biggest difference with connecting with business.
19-year-old business coaches or life coaches.
Yeah, you think about, I come from the theater space and the teaching space, where a lot of teachers, even in the business sector, you would go all the way through there and you would ask, so what businesses have you run to be able to, teach about business? They're like, well, I went through this class and I went through this class, I went through this class. Wait. What business did you run? Oh, I graduated college. So now wait a second. So you've never
What
run a
business
business,
have you
you're
failed?
teaching people how to do it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Have you been bankrupt? Have you slept on the couch before in the back of one of your stores? What have you lost?
Mm.
That's something too, where I recently spoke at an event out in what's the island? An island on Florida. It was an invite only. To be invited to this group, you had to be making, you had to have financial proof that you were clearing 6 figures a month. So every guy, there's 30 plus guys there, maybe just under 30 guys, but every single one of these, I guess there was a couple ladies as well, but everybody there, you knew that they had verified their financial statements. They were making at least $100,000 a month. So anybody there was like, okay, that they're doing what they say they're able to do, and that's people you can work with.
Yeah, that there is a credibility that comes with that type of cloud. And I really appreciate the excellent framework that you shared with this brand, and how we can start to level up our brand every single day in the content that we create, in the way that we share our story, in the way that we craft our messaging, all those different elements. Is there any questions that I didn't ask you that you wish I had, Curtis?
You did a great job. How many episodes have you done so far?
I think this is number 90. So I
Okay, yeah,
started
I was going. This
last
guy's
October.
been doing this for a while, I think. So
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And this is a pleasure to be able to hear a little bit more of your background and some of the amazing expertise that you have. You shared a ton of value all the way through. And I really appreciate the insightful stories that you shared, those patterns of progress. I'm always looking to connect business owners with this type of pattern of progress, because anytime you see that, you can start to implement these little tips, these tricks, these ways that you can now be more functional in your business and make massive movement. So once again, thanks so much, Chris. How do people find you online? I know you've got a ton of different things that you're doing, but tell them where would be the very best place to find you.
So if you Google M. Curtis McCoy, Curtis McCoy, you will find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, any platform. I mean, the Coup app. I'm ranked number 2 under the Prime Minister of India on Coup.
That's awesome.
Not that I'm actually famous, but I look like it in India, I guess. Yeah, just Google me, M. Curtis McCoy. You can find me on Instagram, or if you're looking for Newswire Magazine, Google Newswire Magazine, and it'll show up at the top.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And I really appreciate the excellent advice you gave, the encouragement to young entrepreneurs and those that have been crushing it in business as well. Guys, keep connected with M. Curtis McCoy. And if you want to keep leveling up your life, your business, stay tuned for more value and continue to do what you need to do every single day to get a little bit better in your life. God bless, and we'll see you next time.